What's up, everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part today. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because for this video, we'll be taking a look at a recent anime that I just binged through, and holy crap did I tear up a bit, and that would be Darling in the Franxx. It's funny because about a week ago, I uploaded my Nights of Sidonia video, and after I finished filming and editing that one, I actually sent a text out to my cousin saying, hey, is there any good mech anime that you can recommend me? And then about a second later, he responded with, you gotta watch Darling in the Franxx. Well, once I had enough time on my hands, I actually started binging through it, and holy crap, I cannot believe I missed this anime back when it originally aired in 2018. Again, holy crap, how the heck did it take me this long to watch Darling in the Franxx? But once I started binging through it and finished the story, I was like, holy crap, was that freaking good. Anyway, Darling in the Franxx is a sci-fi anime that takes place in the distant future where you have these teenagers paired in couples that actually pilot these giant mechs called Franxx that are meant to defend the last of humanity, which live in these giant dome-like cities on wheels. And when I first saw how these kids would pilot these Franxx, I was like, oh my god, it's Pacific Rim but with couples! But anyway, the story follows a young pilot called Hiro who's pretty much at the end of his rope because for whatever reason, he can't seem to pilot Franxx with any of the girls in his squad. That is until he runs into this girl who's got pink hair and red horns, and her name is 02. And suddenly Hiro is able to pilot Franxx, and not just any Franxx, he's able to pilot the Franxx with spectacular colors, and from then on, 02 proclaims him as her darling, which is pretty much her way of saying, you're mine! I guess when it comes to relationships, she likes to be the one wearing the pants. But as it turns out, 02 has a bad reputation of getting her partners killed in combat, which makes the other members of Hiro's squad very cautious. However, after watching this anime twice, once on my own and the second time with my mom immediately after I finished watching it the first time, I soon realized that this anime really focuses on friendship and romance. I mean, throughout the show, we not only get to watch these kids go into several battles against these giant reptilian mechs called coaxosaurs, but there are also several episodes where we get to watch them relax, hang out, and have some laughs with one another, and almost become an actual family. And while I normally have a problem with filler episodes because they usually stray away from the overall story, Darling in the Franxx has some of the best standalone episodes that I've ever seen in an anime. Who would have thought that one of my favorite episodes in the entire show was actually a standalone episode that had no connection to the overall story whatsoever, because it was basically dealing about the boys and girls having an argument and splitting their house into two, where you had the boy side and the girl side, and each side was left to their own devices. And let me tell you, seeing the boys and girls go at each other in this petty little argument and splitting their house into two, watching the chaos that unfolds, it's pretty dang funny. Now that I think about it, watching some of these standalone episodes, it allows the show to fully flesh out each of these kids' individual stories, and also shows us that this is not a squad of pilots, this is a family. At the same time, we also get to learn more about 02's past, and there's one episode that is meant to serve as a flashback, and holy crap, was that freaking good. And while we get to see these kids get close to each other, this leads to some of these kids actually developing feelings for one another. I gotta tell you, I really love the romance in this anime. It's funny because after watching Darling in the Franxx, I never realized how much I really enjoy love stories. Maybe it's because I liked how this anime blended both the action and romance throughout this story. Or maybe it's because I like watching a story where we see characters pair up with one another and their love is put to the test throughout the entire story. Anyway, all this is set up right in front of us throughout the entire show so that when we get into the final episodes, we feel that emotional impact for when we get into the final battles. With that being said, I don't mean to nitpick, but if I had one negative thing to say about Darling in the Franxx, is that in the final episodes, there are a couple curveballs thrown at us that no one saw coming. More specifically at how in the near end of the show, the story decides to forcefully shove in the main villain, which really caught me by surprise because honestly, my reaction was like, okay, what? And one final gripe that I have is that in the second to last episode, there's a transformation scene that came out of nowhere and literally had me scratching my head saying, okay, what? Yeah, honestly, I'm still confused as to what the heck just happened. I think when the creators were making some of these episodes, they were probably looking at each other being all like, hey, look, at this point, our viewers are fully invested. From here on out, they'll accept anything that happens. But anyway, after watching this anime where we see these kids fall in love with one another, the one word that I'd use to describe the finale is that it's beautiful. Oh my god, watching the finale, I got pretty emotional because after watching all the big battles, the filler episodes, it all paid off because we see each of these characters fall in love with each other. And honestly, I also got really emotional when I saw two side characters start a family because it soon brought me some Makia memories that almost brought me to tears. And by the time we reach the credits, the one thing I had to say about the overall story is that, man, Hiro and Zero 2 have some ride or die friends. So overall, I really love Darling in the Franxx. I mean, this show pretty much has everything. It has humor, it has action, but more importantly, it has the romance, which is pretty much the heart and soul of the story. So if you're looking for a sci-fi anime to binge through about young kids falling in love, go watch Darling in the Franxx. It's really good. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. That was my overall review for Darling in the Franxx. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button so you can get the latest updates from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.